So just a brief review of the 3 tiers of RTI, and we'll preview some of the key modifications we'll be talking about. So the 3 tiers, Tier 1, high quality classroom instruction. For English learners, that would also need to include ESOL services and culturally and linguistically responsive instruction. Tier 2, supplemental instruction and interventions. For English learners, those should involve ESOL staff and differentiation for English language proficiency. Tier 3, even fewer students, very intensive interventions. For English learners, we would again want to see involvement of ESOL staff as well as staff training in working with English learners, and again differentiation and modifications with particular sensitivity to students' English language development and how that might be interacting with target skills in the interventions. And throughout the process, screening, assessment, and progress monitoring for English learners will talk about, again, involvement of ESOL specialists and as well as assessment and screening tools that are researched with English learners and available in students' first languages if possible. We know there are some in Spanish, not always easy to find in other languages, but whenever possible, that's a great benefit. And then consideration of a broad range of data and comparison with true peers, which means students who may have similar language background and other characteristics to the student. And we'll talk in more detail about each of these. So throughout the series, we're going to come back to a couple of fictional students, Isabel and Adnan. They are also on the first page of your handouts. And you can read a little bit about them there, and we'll briefly introduce you to them and then come back to them throughout. So Isabel is a 4th grade student. She is an English learner, scored approaching proficient on her English language proficiency exam, speaks Spanish at home, which we know from her home language survey as well as personal interaction with her. She was born in the United States, and she does well in math but struggles with literacy. And we know that from a variety of data sources, both standardized assessments, formative assessments, and screening tools. And here is Adnan. He is a 2nd grade student, also an English learner, but scored not proficient on his English language proficiency exam, speaks Arabic at home, recently arrived from Syria as a refugee, and his English reading and writing is below grade level, which of course we would expect it to be as he's a new English speaker, just learning English. But part of what we want to address throughout this series is how to ensure that we're not assuming why a student is struggling in school, that we are looking at a variety of data. We're looking at how they're doing in English, how they're doing in content scores, and that kind of thing. So we'll look a little bit more throughout at how we can really figure out why he's struggling in that way.